Okay, so welcome to this question, and it reads, a market researcher at a major clothing company that has traditionally relied on catalog mail order decides to investigate whether the amount of monthly online sale has changed. She compares the mean monthly online sale of the past several months with a historical figure for mean monthly sales for online purchases. She gets a p-value of 0.01. Explain in this context what the 1% means. A couple of things to bear in mind is that the historical figure that we refer to here is sort of set as the status quo. That is almost the null hypothesis. Nothing has changed. We're saying the sales figure historically are the same, and she is attempting to see if it's different. The p-value that she obtained is 0.01, which is 1%. That's how this 1% comes about. It's related to what she got as her investigation shown with the data that she looked at. Now, importantly, we want to remind ourselves what is p-value. And at this point, I am not sure that everybody is doing this, so I'm gonna do it real quick. If you're looking at a question, this section to the right, please remember to use like video. I just clicked on it. It takes you to a video done by the authors for the chapter, and it's pretty powerful. If you have not watched this video for the chapter, you absolutely are not maximizing the resources that you have. These tabs on the right for each question are really powerful, and they take you to some excellent teaching tools. But that's an aside that I just felt like I should mention now based on some feedback that I've been getting from students. So what does the p-value mean? First of all, even before we look at the size, recall that the p-value is the estimated probability of observing a statistical value at least as far from the null value as the one actually observed. So in other words, we have two values. Let's say this is the real value, the value that the historical data represents, right? And let's say that we now observe a certain value and the value falls here. There's a difference between these two, and this difference, which is my control of this is not the best. The difference between these two values, which is this distance here, this is what the p-value really figures out for you. Now, what the p-value is, it's estimating the probability. So what is the probability of getting this value here if this value is true? The null hypothesis is assumed to be true. So we want to recall that a p-value is the estimated probability of observing this value that we observed at least as far from the null hypothesis, right? So the probability of getting this value is 1%. So what it means therefore is that a small p-value indicates that the observed would be unlikely were the null hypothesis true. This leads us to doubt the null hypothesis. And a large p-value indicates that there is insufficient evidence to doubt the null hypothesis. So the larger the p-value, the more reason you have to believe that the null hypothesis is questionable. And there's a lot of negatives in these statements, so you have to read them. But the important thing, a large p-value does not prove the null hypothesis to be true. A large p-value indicates that there is insufficient evidence to doubt the null hypothesis. So you don't have enough reason to say, hey, I'm questioning that, I want to kick it out. That's not what a large p-value does. What a small p-value does is that it indicates that the observed value would be unlikely were the null hypothesis true. So if the null hypothesis is true and you have a small p-value, then it means the observed measurement is extremely unlikely. Alright, so that's sort of what the p-value is about. It's about probability and about comparing what is the null hypothesis to the measured value, which is in an attempt to prove if the null hypothesis should be rejected. And you have to sort of read through to wrap your head around it. But hopefully this will help you in answering the question. And the key points to remember are the ones down here. Alright, again, I apologize for my lack of control over this mouse. I usually use a touch screen, but I don't have that luxury at this point, so hopefully this helps. Alright, thanks.